Right now, here on the 11th of September 2013, you are looking at what is our next tropical depression, expected to become our next tropical storm, and will be named Manli within the next 24 hours. Is this going to become a strong typhoon? I don't think that's so much of a question anymore. It looks like all the ingredients are in place for a rapidly developing tropical system over the next 72 to 96 hours. The bigger question is, where will Manli be going? Well, if we pull back the picture, we can actually see where the storm is. Now, if you didn't recognize those islands on the previous map, it was actually the northern Marianas Islands here just towards the north of Guam. This is our tropical depression right in this location. The Japan Meteorological Agency has winds in it right now, right about 30 knots, gusting up to about 40 knots. They expected to make it to that tropical storm intensity sometime here on Wednesday night going into Thursday. So they do expect this tropical storm to intensify. Now, at this time, though, it does look like some rapid intensification. Low vertical wind shears overhead here, especially off there towards the north. It has some enhancement with the tut, but then it's going to move along the southern periphery of this upper level ridge, really decreasing that vertical wind shear. Not to mention sea surface temperatures out ahead of this storm system. Now, this is the map from Weather Underground, but out ahead of it, you have it right here. It is going to move over some of the warmest waters on Earth right now. You can see these temperatures getting up to around the 33 to 34 degree range in some areas here. So extremely hot temperatures. And what that means is just more fuel to throw on the fire. This is the warning from the Japan Meteorological Agency. West about moving about very slowly. Winds about 30 knots, gusting up to 45 knots. But like I said, over the next 24 hours at 12:00, so Thursday into the early morning hours, you do expect it to become a tropical storm. Pressure dropping down to about 996. You need 970 more often than not for a typhoon to form, so you still have a little ways to go for that, but it does look a lot of the factors will be in place here, and even the Joint Typhoon Warning Center has now upgraded that area for a medium chance of development. Now, the National Weather Service out of Guam hasn't put anything out yet, but they typically don't until JTWC does. This is the overall background flow, a tool I like to use, especially during early stages of a development of a storm system. It gives us a general idea of where this storm is going to be going. If you just look at the background flow snapshot at this time across the Western Pacific. This is going to change over the next several days, but it gives us an idea. Right now, our storm system's right here. Where should it be going? Well, looks like it's probably going to be lifting here towards the north. If you just follow the flow out there towards Okinawa, maybe around Taiwan, and then returning towards the north. What we are seeing with a few of the models, though, this high pressure ridge pulls back here towards the east a little bit, or that stays in stronger. So at this time, I would put the cone of air something like this at this time, with that center line being the more likely scenario, which would put you there in Okinawa, yes, into the right front quadrant. So let's look at a few of these models here. None of the agencies are warning out beyond 24 hours, so let's look at a few of the models. Three of them in particular, the ECMWF, the Euro, and the GFS. Now, as far as tropical cyclone development this season in 2013, the GFS has been, well, superb. It really has shown development, and in some cases, with our storms, specifically Solik down here towards the south, it predicted that storm nearly 3 weeks out, and it had a rather decent projection on it, down to the right country and everything. It was expecting it to hit Taiwan. So, yeah, this is the GFS here going through Thursday and the Friday. It does show a rapidly developing storm system. It hits that pool of warm water I was talking about out here, and it just completely bottoms out and goes down to around 980 HPA and continues to fall. Then we're looking at it continue to track here towards the west, though, along the southern periphery of that high pressure ridge. It does look like the bulk of the precipitation should remain on the northeastern periphery, a little bit of vertical wind shear on the westerns, but that is it. But the big thing is just look how intense that is. It's not very common you see a model go so bullish on a tropical system, especially this is less than a week out. This is just 5 to 6 days out, so it's pretty strong here and slamming the southern Japanese islands. Let's compare this though with, well, first the European model. One other thing is it does a continued track off here towards the west, impacting Taiwan as well. So if you're in Taiwan, keep a very close eye on. Now, this is a nav gem, and it pulls that different scenario with that trough that I was talking about, interacting a little bit more vice the ridge. And it actually keeps that storm a little bit weaker, but it pulls it off there to a lot weaker, actually. And I don't think the intensity is right on this. I think it's going to be stronger than this. But it pulls it off there towards the north, impacting Kyushu and the Shikoku area as a very severe tropical storm, or maybe a weak typhoon, but this one picks up on a severe tropical storm. Looks like the bulk of the precipitation, though, is going to remain on the eastern periphery of it, just due to that vertical wind shear interacting according to this particular model. Like I said, these are models, use them as a guide, especially this far into the long range. You get that possible, I'm going to put this cone of air once again like that, where this storm system could possibly go in at this time. Now I'll show you the ECMWF, which actually displays a very similar output, a severe tropical storm to possibly a weak typhoon out here, making landfall somewhere around Kyushu towards Shikoku. Actually, a few days ago, this is where GFS was even pulling it, was off into this direction as well. So these ones are picking up more on this troughing, coming down, digging into portions of western Japan and pulling that off there towards the north. I do think that scenario very well is possible. Giving the long range on it, there still is a change that very well could possibly happen, and that ridge could stay in place and push it down there towards the south, what the GFS is expecting. And also, if we just look at the overall background flow at this time, given the snapshot at this time, that's what should be happening. But if that ridge does weaken, it's going to pull off here towards the north. So everybody here along the Pacific seaboard of Japan, including the southern Japanese islands, I do think you need to watch this one just very closely, and possibly even Taiwan, but I don't really think Taiwan so much at this time. I think that even if this storm does go and impact Okinawa, it would eventually recurve and not head towards Taiwan. That is just my thoughts at this time. I'm not an official agency either, and none of the official agencies have put out tracks yet, so that just shows you how long range this is. So we would definitely keep a very close eye on it. I'm just going to leave you with this GFS model output for Monday of next week. Expecting a storm to slam there into Okinawa. So that is all for right now, though, everybody. Thanks again for watching here at westernpacificweather.com. I know my information is very variable today, but I just want to make sure that all of our bases are covered here. Don't want to go too much steered into one direction, and then you may very well not be prepared for the storm system. It's definitely tropical season, so that possibility is always there. And also, it looks like a few other storms possibly could be developing behind this one, so a lot of stuff happening. Stay safe out there, everybody, and thanks for watching.